Hi, my name is Caleb Wessner, and this is my video reflection. When looking back throughout my coursework and my time in my Gen Ed launch seminar, I think I've grown a lot. For part one, coming into the school, there was many questions and problems and issues that I was extremely interested. My first question that I have is how will artificial intelligence transform the future of work, and how can we use it responsibly? Since coming to school, I've always been fascinated by technology, and throughout the increase in artificial intelligence throughout my time during school, I felt like this is a very important question that we should be tasked with finding out during my coursework here. As a data analytics major, I'm working a lot in learning language models, predictive models, and artificial intelligence. So I think that this question is extremely important to me, and I hoped coming into Ohio State that I would connect with that. Another question I had was, how can sports teach life skills that prepare kids for success beyond athletics? This is something that I've always been interested in. My dad was my youth coach when I was younger, and I've always been told as I've been growing up playing soccer that I would be a great coach. And so this is something that is really useful to me because I want to take this knowledge and bring it out and become a youth coach once I'm older. I hope to have a full-time job and then along with that take on a youth coaching job. So this question I feel like is extremely important because sports are not just a way to become athletic and the way to use your athleticism to work out. Obviously it's extremely important, but you also can learn incredible life skills through this. And so this question, I really wanted to learn how these sports can really teach kids hard skills and soft skills of how to just be a better person through sports. My last question was, how can diversity, equity, and inclusion make us better citizens and strengthen communities? Before coming to Ohio State, I got to volunteer for this Montgomery County Student Advisory Delegate, and this really tackled the utilization of diversity, equity, and inclusion in our high schools and how we can better prepare our students for a diverse world that they're going to be thrust into upon graduation of high school. And so this has always been something that's really held near and dear to me. And in coming to Ohio State, I joined Mount Leadership Society Scholars, which is a program that really enforces diversity, equity, and inclusion and promotes it along with leadership in these roles. I've seen firsthand how exposure to different perspectives broadens understanding and empathy. And so I'm hoping that my coursework would allow me to expand on that and allow me to utilize my knowledge to create an impact in the community. So now in part two of how my interests developed. Firstly, looking back at my launch seminar, I saw many things, especially with sports, talking about how excited I was to be taking my sport and youth development course. And I really, at that time, didn't exactly know how impactful that course would be. I created a great amount of friendships, some who I still speak with today and hang out with. And along with, I found a great mentor in Dawn, who is our teacher, and she has helped me with many things, such as getting me in contact with the Ohio State men's soccer team so that I could do some volunteer work for them. And she's also pushed me to become a volunteer at the Life Sports organization, in which that teaches life skills in sports to underprivileged youth. And it's just been extremely impactful. And so through my personalized plan for learning, I was hitting on these topics as well, saying, all right, this is really something that I want to do. And so I feel like it's my just passion for youth sports has grown. In my AI and in computing ethics course that I'm taking right now, I've expanded on my knowledge of how diversity, equity, inclusion works in tandem with artificial intelligence. I've learned about how AI it bases its learning methods on previous data. And when that previous data is not necessarily corrupted but biased, then we can't really have diversity and equity inclusion in our technology, and it's perpetuating racism. I realized that being a data analyst means more than just crunching numbers and looking at data. It's about ensuring that there's ethical outcomes in all that we do. And lastly, I learned how important technology's role is in society. One example is that Google comes with some fallacies, but when you're trying to settle an argument and you can't settle it just by words, you're going to go to Google and look up the answer. And so we're using Google as this fact-giving computer base, yet sometimes it doesn't have the exact correct facts. And so that's something always to be worried about. And lastly, just in D&I as well, I've continued to volunteer. I'm volunteering for this organization, The Bridge, which is a tutoring organization for students who might be just the primary English speaker in their household, and making sure that they have the opportunity to go through their work, and they might be struggling with certain classes such as math, and we help them through that. And so I think that is how it's been growing. And part 3, how might this issue be a part of my future? I think that, as I've kind of mentioned, my future in working in data analysis, along with working in tandem with AI ethically, is something that I will be doing in the future. I hope to work in a field like the sports or business analytics field, where data is used to make smarter and fairer decisions. I've built technical and ethical reasoning skills to ensure data-driven decisions remain people-centered, and I hope to utilize that throughout my work. In sport and youth development, I again hope to become a coach, and I want to continue to volunteer with youth sport organizations. I think it is a great opportunity to teach leadership, teamwork, and life skills, all things that are really necessary, and some things that you just can't teach in a classroom. I think sports is a great way to utilize my analytics background. And I'd really just say that it's so important to get kids into not only activity, but into experiences where they can learn teamwork in a different environment than just school. Because sometimes school can be boring and the same. And I feel like sports creates this new opportunity for kids. Lastly, diversity, equity, inclusion. I do aim to model my inclusive leadership wherever I work. I want to ensure diverse perspectives and want to make sure that everyone can be heard and valued. I understand how bias can appear in both people and data, and I want to work to minimize that in my analytics along with my coworkers. Lastly, I've worked with diverse communities such as Life Sports, The Bridge, many other communities that I've been working with, and know how meaningful inclusion is to collaboration success. And so I hope to continue to be volunteering and doing taking on leadership roles in this. Bringing it all together, these 3 issues are deeply connected: AI, sports, and D&I. Innovation, ethics, personal growth, and teamwork, inclusion, and fairness are all 3 that are really centered around who I am as a person and who a lot of other people are as people. And so my end message is I want to be someone who can use technology, leadership, and empathy to create a positive and equitable change in the workplace, in sports, and in my community. Thank you.